Situations in life will always be overwhelming in some seasons. Days of your life will come when you cannot breathe, you cannot speak, you cannot cry, you cannot understand, and you can find no sense in the chaos. Such days do exist, and yes, God is aware. You will come to that point where you cannot make a demarcation between that which is painful and that which is lesson-filled. You will lose all strength and support. You will cry the oceans of tears available to you and exhaust every contact you know who could help, and you would still come to the place of realization that you cannot do anything but suffer through this season in severe heartache and pain, trusting that this will not be the end of you. Trusting that, hey, God has a plan for my life. Trusting that this too shall pass. Trusting that there's a grand purpose for all these despite its looming unrealistic nature. You see, it is in times like this that the devil will dare you to swear at God. He will invite you to give it all up and say it's over. He will present you with seemingly hardcore proof that is undeniable to the human mind. Proof that this truly is the end, and there is no way God is on your side, that you cannot survive this storm, that this tsunami of emotions will be the end of you. He will show you that the wreckage of your life after this storm could never be fixed and coupled back together by anyone, including God. It is in seasons like this that you would be deserted, utterly abandoned by your friends and foe alike, left to die out the rest of your days in obscurity and utter hopelessness. Yes, such dire straight seasons do exist. They exist not to a few, but to all men, only at different intervals. You may be right in the middle of yours at this very moment. Do not lose heart. Stay positive. Stay a hopeful, dear child of God. A trial season is necessary for the raising of kingdom giants for God. You see, everyone has excellent ideas. Everyone can talk a good game. And everyone can claim to be an expert at handling success. But if we have been taught anything by history, it is that the only difference between many who we insult and malign when they make mistakes is not over great ability or esteem, but rather an opportunity. When many of such critics are presented with the same opportunity as did have those before, they fail ever so miserably. Even worse than the very people they had castigated and insulted while they were in positions of responsibility and influence. Joseph resisted stiffly at every turn despite his great and powerful dreams and aspirations given to him by God. His trial seasons were so fierce that many of us today would have quit halfway through and dumped the vision given to us by God to pursue. Joseph was envied and hated by his very own brothers, his own family. They got so sick of him and his great destiny that they resented his dreams, visions, and his person. They hated him so much that they contemplated even killing him. When they could not do that, they decided to sell him off into slavery. They figured a slave could not amount to anything. This was a trial for Joseph, to test his love, his hope, his affection, and his will to forgive or become vengeful. Joseph must have felt so wrong, hurt, and betrayed. He must have felt deserted by the one group of people that he thought should have had his back no matter what. As if his life was not hard enough, Joseph was lied against in Egypt while he worked diligently as a slave. Genesis 39, 4-8, 10, 16 through 18, and 20. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served them, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord had blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person, and well favored, And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph. And she said, Lie with me. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her, or to be with her. And she laid up his garment by her, until his lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant, which thou hast brought unto us, came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison. The poor innocent young man ended up in jail for a crime he did not commit. I want you to know that he did not sin against God, yet things seemed not to be going his way. It seemed as though the world was set against him. Joseph felt bad, he was hurt, he was broken, and he was wronged. Yet in all of this, he trusted and kept hoping in God, despite being jailed indefinitely. Joseph decided to remain happy no matter what, to trust in the Lord and hope in Him, despite all the things going against him. He understood that even the jail was a place of trial for him, refining the crude parts of his personality into the brilliant look God desired for him in life. Most times, the truth is, we are not aware of what the bigger picture is. We groan, complain, we gripe, and are bitter because of things not going our way. And we complain when we lose out on privileges we were once used to. We become bitter when people don't treat us properly. We feel so betrayed when people who we trust cheat on us. We become miserable when, despite how much we love God, serve Him and follow to do His will, we somehow always seem to end up with the short straw of life. We feel betrayed by God. Nothing ever seems to go according to plan for us. Nothing seems to go our way. In such seasons, it becomes a whole lot easier and more attractive to point fingers at God and gripe and complain about how unfair things are, complaining about how we have loved Him and served Him yet have seen no long-lasting change in our lives. But God is faithful indeed. He has not called anyone to disgrace him or her. He has not separated you unto Himself without a beautiful end in sight for you. Like the Levites in Israel, He has a clear benefit for you if only you will faithfully and patiently persevere. Numbers 18:24. But the tithes of the children of Israel, which they offer as an heave offering unto the Lord, I have given to the Levites to inherit. Therefore I have said unto them, Among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance. God does not use any man in vain. He does not cheat anyone. He cannot be less faithful. His word is true and amen, so expect nothing less. It might seem tough right now, but wade through it on Thanksgiving for the opportunity to be tempted in this season of trial, that God may be glorified through you by the express release of abundant joy and absolute faith in God, even in the midst of that highly depressing situation. God has not forsaken you. He has a sure policy and plan for you. God is not reckless with your life and destiny. All men in the Bible who have risen in God despite the limitations of their time rose as a result of the help and mercy of God to prepare them to last no matter how great they become. So many destinies have been crumbled by the success they encountered. Many could not sustain the character traits that got them to the great heights of life. They rushed to the top and rushed back down, falling from grace to grass. Sadly, this is a continuous process in our history as humans. Many unripe success stories that stepped out too early and were crushed before their time. Crushed not even by the activity of the enemy, or evil one, but were crushed by their own ever-increasing ego as they rose up in success at every point in time. This fatal flaw has buried so many and dampened the foundation of so many. This affected their future possibilities. Nothing is new in this world. History is littered with so many who have fallen by the wayside. Great and mighty ships of destiny that have been crushed on the high tides of life. They never saw expression for long before the world was robbed of their unique expression of their potential and ability. It ended sadly. With all this in consideration, God has decided against letting you cruise through life in success after success. Most do not learn anything from winning. All it does is help them prove that their plans, ideas, and systems are wise and foolproof. The very reason why they have not fallen in error. But this is a well-planned trap by the enemy, for whom the Father loves, he chastises. So he skillfully puts you in seasons like this, seasons where you fail but gains wisdom heavily, seasons where you lack but learn to value the right use of resources, seasons where you are in need and come to understand the situation of people in similar situations when God has finally changed your story. Make no mistake, keep your hope alive. God is faithful. He will not leave you to languish in pain, want sorrow and pain endlessly. You only must learn and grow, and the situation will take a sharp turn for the better. The devil has been cheated. He does not know the great and amazing plans God has for you. He does not know that God is using the occasion of the attacks from the devil and his forces to prepare and train you to be faithful in the place of your making, till you become a vessel worthy to be used in glorious events by the Master. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verses 20 through 21. But in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and of earth, and some to honor, and some to dishonor. If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified, and meet for the Master's use, and prepared unto every good work.